Okay, so we're going to talk about the random module within Python. And random is the name of this module because it is used to generate random pieces of data, so random information. And we're going to have to do something different to be able to access these the functions or methods within this module, and that is we're going to have to import it. So at the top of the file, add import space and then random in lowercase. And the reason we have to do this is because while random and the random module is a part of Python itself, it's not always necessary depending on what it is you're trying to achieve. So it's not included by default whenever we run code. Unlike the print function or the type function, which are almost always a part of your programming somewhere, random is a lot more situational. So to save on having some extra kind of like pollution within your code, some extra bloat that we don't need, we have to import it first. So we have to opt in. But that's it, you set it and forget it. So at the top of the file, once we've got import and then random, we'll now have access to those fun new toys. So what we're going to do is we're going to print and we're going to say random dot, and here we can see everything that's a part of the random module. So till about here when we start seeing underscores, so we've got quite a few different things that we can play with. And for this first example, I'm going to be doing random dot random, and this is a function. So what you'll see here is because we're importing random, everything that we do that involves a method or a function from the random module, we have to begin it random dot, and then we can use it. So while this is still a function, so it's a function just like print is, just like type is, we have to first declare where it's coming from. So random dot, and then the function in this case is also called random. So I appreciate that can be a little bit confusing, but if we run this code, you'll see it's given us a very what's the word, a very deep floating point number. That means that there's a lot of decimal places here. And every time I run this piece of code, we're getting a different number. Okay, aside from the random function, there's also a function which is called randrange. And the random function itself, because it gives you a floating point number between 0 and 1, on its own can sometimes not be super useful. You might need to expand it in some way or multiply it and round it and such. But if you just want to get a given number between a range, we use the randrange function. So hovering over it for the type hint, it says choose a random item from range brackets stop or range brackets start, stop, and step. So we can give it a number. So if I give it 100 and I run it, it will give us a number up to between 0 and 100. But then I could give it 50 and then 100, and it will give me a number between 50 and 100. So this is good if you have a specific range of where you want a random number within. And another good function within the random module is the choice method. So if I go random dot choice, and in order for this to work, I'm going to create a list. So a list of apple, banana, and cherry. And then I'm going to pass my list to the random.choice function. And what this will do is every time I run it, it's going to choose a random item from within the list. So you can see here it shows cherry 3 times in a row, then banana, banana, apple, and that will always choose just a random item from within the list. And something you can do as well is, let's say choice equals, and we're going to assign this to the result of random.choice with our list. And then I'm going to say while choice does not equal apple, we're going to reassign choice again. I'm just going to copy and paste it. And we're going to print choice. So what this code will do is we're first assigning the variable choice as a random choice from my list. And then while the choice itself does not equal apple, we're going to print the choice, and then we're going to get a different, or potentially not different, but just we're going to get a random item from the list once more. And if I run it, the first time we got cherry and then it stopped. So I run it again, we got banana, banana, cherry, banana, and it stopped. Run it again. This time it did nothing. It must have been apple the first time. And you can see here, I can run it as much as I like. We're going to get combinations of bananas and cherries, but never apple. So that is a good way that we can randomly utilize items within declared lists. Outside of those, you can see the remaining choices again by using type hints. So I'm just going to get rid of all that and just import random and then a random dot. And these aren't as clear, at least in my opinion, as to what they do immediately by name. The ones that I've presented are what I think are the ones that get used 99% of the time. But if you're interested in learning about what some of these do, you can click them and then you can hover over and you can read the descriptions. And of course, you can look this module up online and read about them on there. But using a combination of the random.random, random.randrange, and random.choice functions, you can generally introduce enough volatility into a program depending on what it is you're trying to achieve.